chase for Nick Percat continues in Formula Ford in Darwin. Half a second is the margin between he and Mitchell Evans, his Sonic teammate. Richie Stanaway, another of the young New Zealanders, sits in third spot. They've managed to kick clear of Chaz Mostert, who sits in fourth at the moment.
Yeah, these guys are spread out a little bit now, but obviously tyre preservation has become part of it. In qualifying, we're down around the 12.0 mark. Even after about 6 laps here, 7 laps, we're all the way out to a second and a half, even a bit more off the time. So tyres are so important, and they do learn a lot, young drivers, in terms of tyre management in these categories.
Looking back from Ryan Simpson, who's now in 5th spot. And that's Joey Foster, who has got Scott Pye somewhere. He's in there somewhere. You can barely see him because he's tucked in for the slipstream, and that's the advantage. The Englishman's car is punching a hole in the air, and Scott's getting a free ride, but Foster's going the long way around. And having him here is a really great guide for these young Aussies in Formula Ford, because Joey's done US Formula Ford 2000, he's done Formula 3, some Le Mans Series sports car racing. It's a great measuring stick to put themselves up against.
Look, I think there's no doubt that our Australian Formula Ford category is one of the strongest in the world, and we've seen that with, you know, obviously competitive drivers that have gone overseas and done well in terms of Mark Webber and so forth in Formula 1. So clearly our Australian Formula Ford Championship is at the elite level, and these guys are very, very talented. See Scott Pye, he's made a little bit of advantage up through that 7, 8, 9 section. Now he's going to set himself up and see if he can get that toe down the front straight. Same as he did on Foster the lap before. He's in a very good position, and Simpson will probably defend this one coming into the bottom corner.
Shane Van Gisbergen is a very interested onlooker down in pit lane. He's actually keeping a close eye on Richie Stanaway. Shane Van Gisbergen won the Speed Sports Scholarship in Formula First in New Zealand in 2004. Richie won the same scholarship a few years later, so he's keeping a curious eye on how his mate's doing in this race.
More Kiwis in Aussie motor racing than there are in New Zealand motor racing.
It's amazing, isn't it? And Formula Ford's one category where all the team owners, the drivers, there's a lot of interest out there, and everyone stands on the fence and watches this one. And it's a very popular category, and it's always good to see the young drivers do so well.
A great chance for us to have a look at the grooved Avon control tyre that's used in Formula Ford. So these drivers don't have the luxury of relying on a slick racing tyre. This is pretty much an all-purpose tyre.
It is, and it obviously allows, you can see the grooves in the tyre, it allows that tyre to be used in both wet weather and dry conditions. So it doesn't really matter, everyone's on the same. So obviously when the wet weather comes, you don't need to change tyres.
Yeah, no danger of that this weekend, I don't reckon.
Absolutely, although I have been here and seen it about a foot deep in pit lane with the rain. So when it does rain in Darwin, it rains hard.
That's why they have the wet and the dry season. They don't have the seasons like everywhere else. No autumn or summer. Look at Foster. He's been good on the brakes into one, but not quite enough. And you have to be careful too, because there's those tyre bundles on the inside, so you need to make the move. And if you get squeezed, you're in a bit of drama.
It's not what you'd certainly call a high grip circuit. So once you make that level of commitment down to turn one, the car starts to slide around, and that's it, you're committed. So you've really got to make that decision early. And as you say, there's not a lot of room there. If you get it wrong, there is tyre bundles there. And the slightest mistake, as you can see, the car's sliding through the middle of the corner. The slightest mistake can cost a lot.
Back to our leaders. Nick Percat is leading, but not by much. Mitchell Evans is hanging tough here. They've dropped off Richie Stanaway, and it's very much a sprint to the checkered flag. And before the break, I mentioned about history. At the moment, Nick Percat has won 17 Formula Ford races over the last 2.5 seasons. He's tied with Stephen Richards for the record in this category, and one more will put him up to 18, and that's a phenomenal performance. And Formula Ford, of course, a lot of drivers spend maybe 1 year, maybe 2 years in it, so he's had about that period, 2.5 years. It's a phenomenal rate.
No, it is. It's fantastic, and there's absolutely no doubt that record will be broken this year at some stage, and who knows, it could be in a lap and a half's time. But Mitch Evans is really pushing hard. They've broken away from Stanaway, and Mitch is just really setting himself up here for hopefully what will be a good toe battle in that last couple of laps. You don't want to lead too early in the race. Leading the last lap's what it's all about.
Evans is 4th in the championship, and look at him, just all over the back of the gearbox of his teammate. And this will bring the young Kiwi right up into contention. He only came into this round a matter of 5 points behind Chaz Mostert, who's 2 spots behind him on the road. So this is a really, really nice start to the weekend. And with 1 to go this time around, does he have a go? Well,
he's certainly a little bit closer this time, and Percat's just a little bit quicker in the second half of the lap. You'll see Mitch Evans close right up towards the hairpin. Then Percat gets away through that 7, 8, 9 section down onto the front straight. But you can see there, Mitch is trying to tuck in for that toe. And this is it. If he's going to do it, he's got to do it now. And down into turn 1.
Nick Percat was just looking in the mirror. He's keeping an eye there to see where Evans is, but he's just not close enough there to launch a move.
I mean, Percat should be in a position now where these guys have been pushing so hard. They're the class of the field. They're out in front of the field at the moment. They're lapping around about 7/10 quicker than everybody else. And they're just keeping the car straight, clean, tidy. But Mitch has got 1 or 2 more chances to really get that car in there. He's got a bit of momentum here. And will he have a crack up the inside?
Thought about it. Percat, though, is just a bit too quick, because there's 2 more races to go for the weekend in Formula Ford. So it's really just the start of things. And the speed advantage that these two have got from 3rd place, which was Richie Stanaway. He's dropped off the road in turn 1. He's rejoined in 4th place. But if you're not in a Sonic Miguel at the moment, you're not in the race.
Mitch is right in there this time. Will he go
he's thinking about it. He's thinking about it.
Oh, we've seen guys with doors do that one, and it's a bit of a brave move, but he's very close this time. Will he pull out?
He's got to have a go at it. He's going to get the maximum advantage out of this slipstream. There'll be nothing in race 1 in Formula 3. He pulls out to the line. It was worth a go. 800ths of a second.
That's how close it is, but not close enough.
That was good stuff between the teammates. Chaz Mostert home in 3rd. Richie Stanaway 4th. But this man has just created history. 40 years of Formula Ford in Australia, and he is the most winning in terms of race wins. The number is 18.
Very impressive, and yeah, what a great battle for these guys. But they've got more races to come, so I think Mitch Evans may get his chance later on over the weekend.
I reckon the record might rise a little bit during the year as we go through the remaining rounds of this championship. But Nick Percat has this championship by the throat at the moment. Someone's going to have to make him take his hands off it to be able to stop him from winning this championship. That's how close it was between 1st and 2nd. Scott Pye and Ryan Simpson in 5th and 6th, and Joey Foster back in 7th. Ben Walter rounding out the 10.